In a quiet coastal village lived a humble fisherman named Tari. He was a successful fisherman and was very popular in the village. Tari inherited a fishing gift from his ancestors because they were known for being the best in the business. Tari goes fishing every day and sell them in the biggest market in the village. He was known for always catching big fishes, and that gave him a lot of customers who always rushed to buy his fresh big fish. Tari lived alone in the village as he had lost his parents and his sisters were all married and lived in a distant land. He was a bachelor and a wealthy one at that. He goes to the river every evening to fish and sell his catch in the village market in the morning. He was living a happy life but was lonely. One evening, Tari decided to go fishing as usual. He got to his usual spot and cast his net as he sings happily. When it was time to pull out the net, he noticed that it was quite heavy. He managed to pull the net into his boat. There he got the shock of his life. His net has caught one of the sea's creatures, which happened to be a mermaid. A beautiful one at that, with a huge fish tail, and the upper part of the body was a beautiful woman with long hair. Tari, who has heard several stories of mermaid, has never encountered one before. Couldn't believe what he had in his boat. He quickly paddled to the shore and released the mermaid from his nest. The mermaid laid lifelessly on the shore with some bruises which she had sustained from the net on her body. Tari, who was confused and still in shock, did not know what to do. After some minutes of staring at the mermaid on the floor, decided to take her home. On getting home, Tari laid the mermaid on his bed and applied some herbs on her wound. Also made a fire in the room to keep them warm. Tari watched her on his bed as he marveled about how beautiful she looked and fell asleep. The next morning, Tari woke up to a surprise. He saw a beautiful girl staring at him with her full human body instead of a fish tail. Tari, who thought he was dreaming, could not believe his eyes until the girl spoke. "Do not be afraid. I am the mermaid you brought home yesterday." Tari was shocked to hear her speak so well. She later explained to Tari that she has the ability to turn into a full human, but on the condition that water doesn't touch her feet. Days passed. She was staying in Tari's house, so he allowed her to stay as long as she wants. Tari continued his normal life as a fisherman. Things began to change. Tari started catching more fish and bigger than usual. And he also became very wealthy. He was very happy as he thanked the gods for blessing him with a beautiful mermaid, Aba, who turned out to be a blessing to him. Aba, on the other hand, became the wife Tari never had. She made sure she prepared a delicious meal before Tari returns from fishing. She does all the chores in the hut, including cooking, going to the market, washing of the plates, and even washing of their clothes. She made sure she does all these chores hidden in her hut, so in case water touches her feet. The only thing she does not do is going to the village stream. So Tari made sure to fill all the pots in the hut with water before leaving the house. It was going well and they were both happy. And they soon fell in love with each other and was hoping to spend the rest of their lives together. The villagers started gossiping on how quickly Tari has become wealthy. They started talking about the large quantity of fish he now catch and their sizes, which they believe it's abnormal and Tari might be using charms. The villagers also gossip about Ebiye, who they describe as a goddess because of her beauty. They wonder what land she came from, even though Tari has told them she came from a distant land. They gossip about how Tari still fetches water from the stream, even though he has a woman at home. The village maidens were jealous of Ebiye because they wanted Tari for themselves. One evening, Ebiye was cooking as usual in her kitchen when she mistakenly splashed some water on her feet and immediately transformed into a mermaid. As she was struggling to get a piece of cloth to dry her tail, she was spotted by one of the village maidens, who ran quickly to inform the villagers. Unknowingly to Ebiye, she has been seen in her mermaid form by one of the village maidens. Few minutes later, the villagers rushed to Tari's house and found Ebiye still struggling to dry herself up so as to return to her human form. She was taken to the village square and was surrounded by the villagers who were pouring water on her to keep her in her mermaid body. Tari returned home and noticed the absence of Ebiye. He called her name, but there was no response. He began to think of where she could be at that time. All of a sudden, he heard some noise coming from the village square. He rushed out of his hut and ran towards the direction where the noise was coming from. On getting to the village square, he saw Ebiye surrounded by an angry villagers. He rushed towards her and held her as he shielded her from the angry villagers. He begged them to spare Ebiye's life, but the villagers refused as they threatened to kill her. Tari stood up for Ebiye as he said he would rather leave the village together with Ebiye than to watch the villagers kill her. He carried Ebiye in his arms as he walked out of the village, leaving everything behind, including his properties. Ebiye placed a curse on the village as they left, and the fishes in the river died, including their crops and animals. Even the humans were not spared. Tari and Ebiye settled in a distant land where they lived as couple. They flourished and prospered in the land. Ebiye blessed the land as the villagers began to count their blessings since they stepped their foot into the land. Tari and Ebiye lived happily and had children together. Ebiye made sure to visit her home in the sea every year, and they all lived happily ever after.